Here is a word problem that I would like to show you how to solve. Superman needs to save Louis from the clutches of Lex Luthor. After flying for 7 seconds, he is 1,792 meters away from her. Then at 16 seconds, he gets a little closer to 1,396 meters, and then he flies at a constant rate. So I want to draw a couple of pictures here. Let's say this is Superman here, and he wants to get here. And the first piece of information we have is that when he flies for 7 seconds, the distance between him and Louis is going to be 1,792 meters. Then, if he flies longer, specifically if he flies for 16 seconds, then the distance will shorten to 1,396 meters. The question at the end is asking us how far is he going to be if he flies for, it's a little wide, if he flies for 21 seconds. So if this is 21 seconds, how long is this distance here is our last question. But we need to answer the first two in order to answer the last question. I'm going to start by answering what is Superman's average rate. Now keep in mind that there is a formula that finds the rate if you have the distance and time. Specifically, the formula is rate equals distance divided by time. And what we know about Superman is that between being here and here, he was flying for 16 minus 7 seconds. And that's his time. 16 minus 7 is 9, so I'm going to put 9 to the bottom of my formula. And I also know that the distance between the two red lines that I drew will be 1792. Let me go ahead and write that in red. 1792 minus 1396, which is 396 meters. And that's going to be the distance for the formula. If you divide 396 by 9, that's 44 meters per second. And that's the answer to our first question. For the second part, for the second question is, we are going to use the similar formula, rate equals distance divided by time, but in its different variation. It will be distance equals rate times time. So if distance equals rate times time, and we are asked how far, which means we're looking for the distance, how far does he fly every 5 seconds, we will use 5 seconds for the time. And our rate is what we just found in question 1, which is 44. If you multiply 44 by 5, that's 220 meters every 5 seconds. For the very last question, how close to Louis is the Superman after 21 seconds, I want you to notice something. On my last picture where I have 21 seconds, 21 seconds actually consists of 16 seconds here, and then 5 more seconds here. Now, we already knew how close he was to Louis after 16 seconds. I already know that this part here is 1396. After 16 seconds, he flew for 5 more seconds to get to the 21 mark. And I just found out that every 5 seconds he flies 220 meters, which means between the 16-second mark and the 21-second mark, he's going to get 220 meters closer to Louis. So to find the answer to the third question, I'm going to subtract 220 from 1396. And that gives me 1176 meters.